Welcome to Art Beat, where art is the heartbeat of South Mississippi. Have you ever been to a place that's so magical you never want to leave it? Well, here you are at Chateau Blessey, and you will have that experience today as I have had. Today, Art Beat will take you into the world of the art of hospitality, the art of interior design, and most importantly, the art of recovery, where these two innkeepers, Walter and Catherine Blessey, took a home that was completely destroyed after Hurricane Katrina and have now made it into one of the most beautiful inns of South Mississippi. Well, here we are with Art Beat on the porch of Catherine and Walter's home. What a great pleasure to see you, my darling.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. It is so beautiful here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast on a day like today, isn't it?
It is.
It really is. Thank you for having us. Catherine is an amazing woman. She took this home in its stage of disrepair after Katrina. What was your first impression when you first saw it that morning after, on August 29th, 2005?
I was just very hopeful that we could rebuild.
Is that an attitude or what?
And that's what we've maintained throughout our project.
Well, we're going to talk to Walter shortly, but I know that obviously when you have a bed and breakfast, the woman is totally responsible for a lot of how things are done here. So what is that you want from Chateau Blessey? What is that you want guests to leave here with, Catherine?
I want guests to experience the flavor of the coast.
Yeah.
Not only of what our coast has to offer, but to build lasting memories at our bed and breakfast, and also Walter's gourmet cooking.
Well, that's a treat in itself.
And we ensure with each guest that, with quiet joy, that all their needs are met, and just for them to experience, and they love sitting on the porch and just having their own quiet time together. A lot of bed and breakfast guests just like to reconnect and experience that experience, and we've had very positive feedback.
So without intrusion is what you're saying from the innkeepers themselves. Well,
correct.
If you've ever dined with Catherine and Walter, I mean, they are known throughout the coast for their hospitality in so many ways. Auction packages that deliver fantastic gourmet dinners to many people. But now they have a home where they entertain others throughout the country. And this is truly a remarkable place. I mean, when we first walk in, as everyone will see, there's just a feeling of you and Walter there, but at the same time, an entire feeling of the history of South Mississippi. How did you make that happen?
Well, the home has a soul. It always has. And with each of the guests or events that we do for nonprofit, with our friends also, it just creates our own creativity of what we really have been led to do.
Yeah.
And we're very proud of that.
Well, I'm one of the lucky ones. They happen to be friends, and I've dined with them periodically. But now with Art Beat, we want to showcase this beautiful home. And let's walk over here, because as you come to Chateau Blessey, one of the first things you see is this piece of artwork, which truly is South Mississippi. How did this come about?
Well, we had dirt mounds in the corners of the homes, and Walter had one of the workers remove it and put it on the west side of our home, and he just built two big mounds. So what I did is I got a drum barrel and chicken wire and filtered through all the debris and all the china. Even with it being broken, I was not despondent, because I knew somehow I was going to create a collage. And a good friend of mine, Belinda Evans from Wiggins, had never done anything like this before. And she created something that was related to the coast with the sunset, the lighthouse, and the sailboats. So I'm very proud of this piece of work, because this is a collection of 20 years of china and memories of for our family.
What a remarkable way to salvage all of that, while at the same time showing guests who are not from our area a little bit about South Mississippi and how we love our lighthouse, how we love the water, how we love America, and how we love sunsets on the beach, right?
Correct.
You know what? I think I'm hearing some music in there. Is that Walter?
Let's go see.
Let's go see. Okay. Well, Well, in case you have just joined us, you are watching Art Beat here at Chateau Blessey, and I have to give you a big hug.
Oh, welcome,
Yeah.
Elaine, to our home.
We haven't heard him play music since the old Gus Stevens days.
Well, it's more years than I want to remember.
Oh, it's still fantastic. We go way back, our
Yes,
families, and you know, the hospitality industry here in South Mississippi is an art form, Walter.
Sure.
It truly is, and you and Catherine have maximized on that. When you started redoing this home, what was your first thought?
Mission impossible.
Really?
Yes. It was a lot of devastation and a lot of damage under the house, which took almost a year to just shore up the underneath the house. And then to try to match the wood craftsmanship that had been done in the 20s, as well as try to get the material to equal what was, in the house originally. It was very time consuming.
I know.
And so we spent over 3 years reconstructing the home.
And he didn't just delegate or hire a crew, did you?
Well, I did have 3 carpenters that were local men.
Right.
A couple of them I'd known for quite some time, and then a local plumber and a local electrician. But I was up and working at 5 in the morning, and the men left at 5 in the evening, and I was still working. So.
And those of us who know and love them both were concerned because there was a tremendous amount of work involved in the heat. And the art of recovery itself, it was something that you took very personally with Catherine.
Right.
You did a lot of the carpentry and created some beautiful work here in the house, didn't you?
Well, thank you. I had a very good mentor. My maternal grandfather, Henry Fountain, was a master boat builder. And his first grandson, I was his shadow. And I learned from him that it's you got to be attentive to what you're doing, and don't be afraid to go the extra step to get it done right. That's a little more costly, but in the long run it pays off. And when you're building boats, it's even more critical because the water is unforgiving.
Oh, yes.
You don't get many chances on the water, so it's got to be well made. So we try to restructure the house. In fact, some of the techniques that I use were actually boat building techniques.
Well, you're sure now through hurricane season, we're good now, right?
I don't know.
Well, I tell you, when you come into Chateau Blessey, the detail, the attention to detail is absolutely extraordinary. And there is art and sculpture and crystal and all sorts of things from all over the world, because Walter and Catherine are well traveled. So I guess everywhere you go, you think of this place and how to fill it with love.
Well, actually, it was a visit in southern France after Katrina, staying in a bed and breakfast in southern France that kind of was the catalyst for us to come back and say, we need to create a bed and breakfast out of our home. So that took another thought to where we're going to live, and so that's why we had to open up the attic upstairs for living quarters for Catherine and I, which was
that's an
another
place.
undertaking.
Yeah, it is amazing up
Right.
there. We're not going to see that on this particular art beat because there's just so much to see here. Can you give us a tour of the house?
Quick tour?
Let's start in the dining room.
Well,
shall
just
we?
one quick
Oh,
about
okay,
this room
about
here.
this room.
This room, this west wall was blown out. Most of the damage was done by a tornado. We only had 18 inches of water inside the house.
Only.
A lot of water damage under the house,
Right.
but with the wind damage and the tornado, but this wall was totally blown out. So what you see here is totally reconstructed, and we tried to match it as best we could to the original construction. The fireplace had very little damage, and some very detailed wood carving on that, and that goes back, to the early 20s. So we were pretty proud that was saved. But this wood floor, we was able to salvage enough of the original oak floor from other rooms and relay this floor, but this was almost totally gone.
But now, the home started, its initial birth, so to speak, was 1908.
Yeah, there was original Biloxi cottage or a cabin, which is now the current kitchen, what we now call the kitchen.
And what a kitchen
it's
it is.
an elegant
It is. I
place,
tell you.
a happy place to be.
And we're going to
We
have
love
some
it.
surprises there later on in Art Beat. So right now we're going to take a tour, so come on and join us.
We're leaving the formal living room and coming into the formal dining room. This has what I call a captain's table made out of solid mahogany. I got the wood. I had a millwork in Hattiesburg to actually construct the table for me. He didn't do any finishing, So I brought it down and I hand finished this. So this has 15 coats of marine varnish. It's all just put on, rubbed on, no brushing. So
no brushing. It is
the
extraordinary.
Katrina, we had 12 chairs. We only lost one chair. And the table was heavy enough that it was shoved up against these two pieces and they were undamaged. So,
Well, and there's been many a beautiful meal served here, whether it be Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's Day here at the Blesseys,
and we also do our charity dinners here.
And your charity
And
dinners.
everyone that comes here loves it. They really do.
so we call this is the parlor area,
Yeah,
the first room that we
right.
were in. This is our formal dining room, and then we're going to see where everybody enjoys breakfast. So, Walter, this part of the house was remaining, was it not?
Yes, except that the enough of furniture and debris and the undermining underneath, this floor collapsed.
Oh.
So I had to take up what was left of the flooring, replace the floor joists, and shore up the foundation. And when we got through with putting it back, we didn't have enough original wood, so I had to use some new wood. And this was the pattern that what we saw in a chateau in southern France.
It's beautiful.
This table, the cypress table, is a table you see in the vineyards in France. The workers, this is where they have their lunch, and so we call it and I got some local cypress and constructed this about 3 months ago.
So you built this table?
I built the table, yes. Yeah.
Wow. What about that bar over there?
The bar, I built the bar many, many years ago when I was living in Houston, Texas. And it's made out of redwood, but we brought it over, and it survived Miss Katrina with no problem.
Yeah. Well, this room has a feeling of just wanting people to cozy up in it, and after their breakfast, and sit and relax. And you always have music playing.
Right,
and
right.
How have the guests responded to this room?
Well, they love it. And another piece I just made was this small table here. That's another piece out of mahogany. So.
Right. So what about this bar, Walter?
This bar I made when I was living in Houston, Texas. It's out of redwood, and I brought it over here. And of course, we moved back in '87 when we bought the home. So it's been through a lot of happy days and happy evenings.
Oh yes.
Everyone loves the bar.
I know. It's a focal point of this
Right.
room. But now I notice another focal point of this room. In the center here is this beautiful coffee table.
Well, this is a coffee table, again made out of mahogany. Believe it or not, this was a piece of scrap wood, but it's unique in that it has the scoring from the way the log was cut from a bandsaw. So I left those markings, and it almost looks like a zebra stripes or tiger stripes or something. I thought it was pretty unique.
So you mean the scoring was already in
that's
the wood?
natural. Yeah, that was in the wood when I got it from the lumberyard.
Well, I know y'all see the kitchen behind me, but we're going to save the best for last. So let's take a look at the bedrooms and some of the memorabilia in the hallway, shall we?
Yeah, we should. That'd be great. Now, we did a open house for the Gulf Coast Symphony, and we had some interior decorators come in and help us in designing the rooms. And today we happen to have one of those decorators, John Folding, is with us.
Oh, great. So,
So,
we're going to meet
we'll
John,
go
but let's go through
Find
this
him
hallway.
in the. We're going down the hallway now. We call this. I don't know if they have the specific name for it, but it has a lot of pictures and portraits and some posters from various acts that have been in Biloxi, particularly at the Grand Theater. And a few of these guys I happen to know. I knew Willie when I lived in Texas, and Dr. John, and the other Mr. Tony Bennett.
Tony
and
Bennett,
these guys was terrific. Some Mardi Gras memorabilia.
King and Queen Catherine and Walter.
From Mardi Gras was big in Biloxi as well as along the whole Gulf Coast, and we converted a couple of old closets into some wine cabinets here. So
Just a couple, yeah.
yeah, right.
You know, the focus here at Chateau Blessey is fine taste, good taste. You can't go wrong when you come here. There are only 3 bedrooms. You're going to experience privacy, individual hospitality, gourmet dining, a wonderful feeling of history here about South Mississippi. And you know what? I'm so excited about talking to John and how he did this room. So we're going to take a short break and come back with more Art Beat right after this message.
Good. Thank you.
You're watching Art Beat, and we are here at Chateau Blessey with one of the primo interior designers of South Mississippi, Mr. John Folding. John, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, when I first walked into this room, my eyes didn't know what to look upon first. Obviously, the camera loves the chandelier, and we're directed up like that, and then we notice all the beautiful workmanship over the bed. So, I mean, where did all this come from? How did you envision this room to look in the beginning?
Well, in the beginning, when I first saw the house, the space, the room, that sort of thing, there was still a breeze blowing through from the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, so it was then you saw
Yes. So I saw that for the first time, and then Catherine approached me to ask me to do this room, and she had a picture that was on the cover of Veranda magazine, and it was of a very, very French provincial space, and the bed had this kind of crown thing over it.
It does look like a crown.
That we replicated with the toile, and I always like to put a little twist on the work that I do. The picture showed a very neutral background with the toile in the front, and then a kind of a plain background. But I found this really great looking stripe with the red in it.
I love that.
And that's kind of where the rest of the red came from. And she's done a nice job with a few other little things that she's added.
Well, I noticed the beading underneath there is obviously from a smaller chandelier, so the lighting comes from that. That is a really beautiful touch.
Thank you.
Now, what about the workmanship at the top with the gold leaf?
That entire piece, I had a carpenter put it together for me. I bought the individual pieces, the scrolly pieces, the dolphins, and that sort of thing. I had somebody put it together, and then I gold leafed it myself, painted it, very much a labor of love.
I can see that. This whole room is that. I mean, it's the first room you come upon when you're walking into the hallways of Chateau Blessey, and there are only 3 rooms, as we have stated before. Each one is unique, and this is John's, what shall we say, gift to the Blesseys. So
I think so, absolutely.
It really is lovely. So let's take a walk over here by the mantelpiece and take a look at, you had mentioned earlier about the legs of this.
Right. When I was wrapping up the room, I was looking for something that was personal. And there was this old metal garbage can out back that was stuffed full of these table legs, chair rails, that sort of thing, in this garbage can. And I thought, you know what, these would look really, really great in the room. And so I just picked out 4 or 5 at random, and brought them in, and according to Catherine, this is her absolutely favorite part of the whole space, is what I did with these. I mean, they're not even, they're just kind of laid up there. There's nothing special about how I did it. But
it's a memory of that time,
absolutely.
Isn't it? It's a memory of going back to the time when the home was devastated.
Right.
And so were Walter and Catherine, and here is sort of a remnant of
a remembrance
of those days, a remembrance of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's extremely creative and absolutely heartwarming. Now, what I really love also is this small secretary. Is it, and was that one of your contributions?
It was not, actually. This piece Catherine bought, I think, from a lady in Ocean Springs, but she can verify that. But what I do like about it is that it's kidney shaped.
Yes, I love that shape.
Kind of picks up the kidney shape of this little sofa. And everything in the room that's upholstered, the bedding, the draperies, the pillows, the bed skirt, it's all custom. Nobody else has it. I mean, I suppose I could make it again, but it probably wouldn't turn out exactly the same way because everybody's room is just a little bit different. But everything top to bottom is custom.
Now, this is not a large room, and yet I feel very comfortable in here. The high ceilings, there's a spaciousness. I guess the shutters, which let in so much beautiful South Mississippi sunlight. I mean, was this a difficult task to undertake?
It wasn't. Kinda.
Well, kinda when you're seeing the wind blow through.
Right,
it
when you see the wind blow through,
here,
exactly.
You know?
But what helped was Catherine had a vision to start with.
She had a vision, yeah.
And the difficulty came in pulling the pieces together from a custom perspective, because there are lots of people that are involved in making a custom room. You don't just go to the department store and pick something up. You have to have a seamstress involved. You have to have shippers involved to get the fabric to you. You know, you have to have your carpenter involved. So I mean, there are lots of people who have to
It's
touch.
a team effort.
Exactly, that touch every piece of it, and then finally, when it comes together, it's not just me; it's all the people that have helped me get this to come together.
That's a beautiful way of saying it. You know, and if, in case you don't know John, he has done tremendous events on the coast, and your floral designs are amazing.
Thank you.
And I know that you are just such a talented man. And it's so wonderful to see two Renaissance men come together.
Right.
You know, like Walter plays music and does all this wonderful cooking, Catherine and her selection of the artwork,
Right.
you and the work that you do for so many wonderful clients in South Mississippi. But now I have to tell you, I'm a little hungry.
Yeah.
So, and we saved the best for last, so I think what we're going to do is wander off into the kitchen
Great.
where Walter is at his happiest. What
There
do
you
you
go.
think?
I agree.
Okay, so join us for more Art Beat when we come back after this. We'll be in the kitchen with Walter.
Elaine, you're just in time. I'm getting ready to put some kebabs on the hearth here.
Oh,
These
wow.
little pineapple and a little venison sausage.
He always says little when you come to eat with Walter, and nothing
Makes
about
it-
eating with Walter is little.
It makes a really nice appetizer.
It is wonderful.
And we just put these on the hearth.
Unbelievable. This hearth, that you designed this yourself.
Well,
no doubt.
I designed it, but I got the idea from one of our dear friends, again in southern France, who had visited with us during the tricentennial. And when we went to their home and visited with them, they had the hearth. Of course, in that part of France, they use it for not only heating the kitchen, but also for cooking. Of course, the old homes used to have this.
Of course.
So I said, well, if they can do it, why can't we? So I had my brick mason to tie into an old existing chimney. The house used to be steam heated, and back down here used to be a boiler room. So then, but I did put a commercial exhaust fan on top of the chimney, so we don't get any smoke in here.
Right.
But it's strictly wood burning, no gas starter. It's all natural.
In case you've just joined us, we're doing Art Beat at Chateau Blessey with Walter and Catherine Blessey, and what an experience this is. I mean, this kitchen in itself is a work of art.
Wow.
And tell me how you came to design exactly the way things are placed in here, Walter.
Well, you never have enough prep
No,
space.
never.
So while we have this kitchen over here with a long counter, to be working with the hearth and this big stove and a convection oven, you may have 2 or 3 things prepping at the same time. So I designed this with an extra oversized sink in it for washing like
Boy, is
collard
it ever.
greens and
It's
turnip
huge.
greens and whatever you need to wash in there.
Yeah, the big pots.
Also, on occasions, during oyster season, we'll get oysters, and I'll open right here in the sink. And I have more than just a collection of oyster knives. And
Oh, that's right. Some of these go way back, don't they?
Well, this knife here, my grandfather made for me when I was 10, so it's over 60 years old.
Wow. So
And this is a newer version here.
this becomes an oyster shucking kitchen.
But when you put them on the grill here,
Uh-huh.
they are
Oh, I
dynamite.
know. I've had them here
Unbelievable.
before. It's unbelievable.
Very, very delicious.
So I know a lot of, I mean, obviously every breakfast that you create comes from those 2 amazing hands of yours, and you and Catherine together feed the guests that come through Chateau Blessey. How do you decide what the menu is?
Well, it's a cooperative effort. And Catherine has a couple of dishes that she cooks. She does an unbelievable job on a French toast made with French bread and pecans and maple syrup. And we ask them if they have any seafood allergies, and if they don't, then we'll do maybe shrimp in grits or shrimp or crevettes with polenta. It's a little more sophisticated.
Right.
We had a couple last week that loved all types of seafood. So I got some fresh fish and just paned a couple of fillets with the polenta, and they absolutely loved it.
I
And
bet
they were from
did.
Tennessee and said they'll be back for the seafood. They also like the accommodations as well as the food.
Well, now, as you wander through Chateau Blessey, there's all sorts of things to see. One visit is not sufficient. I mean, there is an Elizabeth Baglia table here. She's the artist that created the beautiful mural on the Ocean Springs Bridge. There's a June Ward hanging in the John Folding design room. There are paintings galore. There's all sorts of memorabilia for you to see. And of course, there's Walter and Catherine, who have a sense of history of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Now, the clientele that you serve, where do they come from?
They are from Southeast, several couples from Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, California, Washington, D.C. area, We have some reservations for a wedding in the fall. I think those people are coming from Wisconsin. They see us on our website, which is chateaublessey.com, and you can get a virtual tour through the house on the website.
Yes,
so
I know. I did
kinda,
that.
That kind
It's
of really gets their
fabulous.
attention, and they love that. So, and then we belong to the Mississippi Bed and Breakfast Association and Harrison County Tourism, and so it's an effort of a lot of different venues to get people to the Gulf Coast. And of course, the bed and breakfast clientele are usually going for a destination,
That's true.
and they have a purpose of their trip. We've had a writer, professor from LSU, who's coming back for his second stay with us, and he was doing research at Beauvoir before, and we were just happy to have him. Delightful couple. They'll be in with us next week.
Wow.
So when you start developing the repeat business, then you must be doing something right.
Oh, I think so. Well, I see Catherine coming in, and it looks like maybe she's going to help us eat some of those goodies.
Well, I don't know if she can help us eat. She might help us serve.
Okay, but you do not have to
Come
be.
on up, Catherine. Come on
You
up.
do not have to be from far away to enjoy this particular meal, this particular sense of ambiance, and this kind of Southern hospitality. You don't have to come from Wisconsin. They can come from Pascagoula.
Oh, yes.
So how do they find
We
you?
have several from Baton Rouge.
From Baton Rouge. I mean, local people
New
can
Orleans.
actually come and stay with you.
Right.
And I know you've entertained local people that just want to get away for a night or
Sure.
two.
We
So
have. One couple had their
Yeah.
wedding anniversary.
Actually, they were from Pascagoula.
Pascagoula, there
And he
you
was
go.
an engineer at Ingalls, and they just wanted to get away for the weekend, so they came and spent the weekend with us.
So our main audience for WKFK is over in Pascagoula, Jackson County. But I know also that at IP, when we are full house,
Yeah.
we recommend Chateau Blessey for guests to come and stay, just in case they want a different kind of experience. And always shuttle them back. We can shuttle them back if they want to do a little
Sure.
gaming, but
Right.
obviously the partnership is strong. So,
Good.
but now, words of encouragement for people who want to take on this tremendous responsibility of serving others. How would you encourage others to engage in this type of art? Because it truly is the Southern art of hospitality.
Well, you have to, first of all, enjoy cooking, and you have to enjoy meeting new and different people, and be willing to accept some constructive criticism and comment, because while we think we're doing everything just perfect, a lot of people, the world travelers, say, well, we ask them, is there something we can improve on? So you got to be willing to adapt to whatever situation you're given.
Well, the key word there that Walter referred to is adapt, because this couple really used this entire home prior to Katrina. This was their living quarters. And someday soon in the near future, ArtBeat's going to come back and show you the art of downsizing, because they've actually taken an attic and completely redone it and created their living space all into its own upstairs above Chateau Blessey. So that's another story unto itself, wouldn't you say,
Right.
Walter?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, it took you quite some time to
Exactly.
design that and to complete that, though.
Right.
Well, I hope you have enjoyed this visit at Chateau Blessey today. It's a unique spot in South Mississippi, right on the beach, near the Beau Rivage. And we'd love for you to come and visit. Say hi. I'm sure you'd love to give a tour if they come by.
Be happy to.
Yes, absolutely. Chateau Blessey here, featured on ArtBeat. And if you have any ideas about what other things you'd love to see on ArtBeat, please let me know. Just email us at wkfk.com and let me know what you'd like to see. We'll put your favorite artist right here. See you on ArtBeat next week. Thanks for joining us.